I see what old chaps and chappets, Game Chap and Birdie here.
Yes.
Yes, fellows, and I say we are now discussing here some very interesting points concerning the upcoming Legend of Zelda on Wii U and some things you might not have thought of. Now, indeed, of course, this is something of analysis, so do stick around and listen to what we have to say here, I say.
Most certainly, it's very interesting, and we should have some sort of gameplay and screenshots going along as we're talking, so
That's
keep
right.
watching. But most certainly, yes, Wii U, Zelda, coming out and not predicted, but it's going to come out in 2015. Very, very much anticipated game. Now, the thing is, there's some very interesting points about this game, and indeed the character that perhaps haven't been seen. Now, one of the things is, I do believe that the character, or Link, or the character that's been seen there, is actually right-handed this time.
He is right-handed.
He's left-handed.
That's right. Now, this can be seen when Link was dashing along on Epona and he swung his sword on horseback, as you can now do in this game. But if you look closely, he used his right hand.
Most certainly, yes,
Now,
he
that's
did.
unusual for Link, because, of course, as any Zelda fan knows, Link is normally, not always, but normally left-handed, and he held his shield in the right hand.
Yes, most certainly. That was very interesting. Now, the thing is, this raises a good point. Left-handed, or in this case, right-handed Link. Now, the thing is, this character, he doesn't just have this thing where he's holding his sword there in a different hand, but he's also, of course, not in the traditional green.
That's
He's
right.
got this blue outfit on, as you see, this blue sort
With
of
a cloak
tunic
sometimes.
type of thing, yes. And the thing is, you see, it makes you wonder, is this Link? Is
Yes.
this our Link,
Exactly.
as we know, or is it a different character, perhaps?
And actually, we've raised some theories on this in the past. We've said maybe it's not Link at all, for one of them, or I think another theory, a possibility we explored a while back, was whether it could be somehow the son of the Zelda from Skyward Sword somehow.
Very interesting point, yes. Now, of course, Nintendo are holding their cards very close to their chest at the moment.
That's right.
And they've released some information and things, but obviously they're not going to let the whole thing out as yet.
No.
They've given some information, but the thing is, there's little tidbits that come out that are interesting to look at, and
Yes.
I wonder what's going to go on here.
That's right. Now, of course, in a previous Zelda game, Twilight Princess, Link was indeed also right-handed in one of those games, because on the Wii version, as opposed to the GameCube game, it was actually mirrored. In other words, the whole world was flipped around for easier use with the Wiimote and nunchuck. So in the Wii version, he was right-handed, but actually, canonically speaking, in terms of the storyline, he was left-handed in that game too.
Yes, most certainly. Which brings us back to that point. Perhaps, maybe we're seeing here, you should have been able to see him on the screen by now, if not, you probably will shortly, but maybe we're looking at here, and indeed the trailer also that they released, of perhaps an early part of the game. Perhaps this is either not Link, or he's going to... it's an ancestor of Link or something like that, I don't know.
Well,
or maybe some form of relative or something, and Link's not in the game yet, we don't know.
It could very invisibly, I should say, be a scenario where we're looking at an early form of Link here, as we've seen sometimes. Often you start off in a village or something, and you have this early version of Link who has to learn the ropes, gather his equipment, etc. and so forth. So that could be what we're looking at here, or alternatively, Nintendo could be showing us an entirely different character, although it's unlike them to do that, I think, old chap.
Well, yes, we don't know. We don't know. We just have to wait and see. But this is a very interesting point there with the right-handedness there, the different tunic colour. There's a lot for fans to sort of, rub their chin and yes, and think about here, and makes it rather exciting, of course. But as I said, Nintendo keeping their cards close to their chest and not telling us everything at the moment.
It's quite, quite hush-hush, and of course only Mr. Aonuma and his team will know the real truth right now. Now, also, there was something quite interesting, I think, old boy, in one of those trailers I saw, and
Yes.
actually, I'm just going to go and bring it up here.
Right.
When Link cast off his cloak,
Yes.
inside the trailer, you
Yes.
could actually see very briefly some markings on the cloak.
Ah, very interesting.
Right, fellows, so we're actually looking at this live now, and we are studying very closely the markings on the back of Link's cape. Now, what we can actually see here, as I advance the footage, is we have a bit of a crest, it seems. In fact, definitely, I'd say this is almost certainly some kind of crest to do with perhaps the land that Link or this character is currently in. And if you look closely, it's very dissimilar. It's not entirely the same as the previous crests we've seen in Zelda games. For example, the one that appears on the Hylian shield, etc. and so forth. It doesn't feature the Triforce, it doesn't feature the wings, etc. and so forth, as you can see there. It in fact instead features an upward-facing triangle, some kind of scroll there, a downward-facing triangle, and various symbols on the left and the right. Now, this is most unlike anything we've seen before, old chap.
It is very interesting indeed, and a good point to bring up there. I think it's certainly too detailed and in-depth to just be coincidence or just a pattern that he just decided to put on his cloak.
Yes.
It obviously means something. It's got sort of a Triforce shape there in being a triangle, but as you say, not the Triforce at all.
No.
Now, could this, as you say, point towards or depict his clan or perhaps or something where this person's come from? We don't know.
An origin, certainly.
Yes, an
of course,
origin.
I thought of the symbol of the Sheikah, but it's not them either, old chap. This is a new symbol for the Zelda series, I think.
Yes, indeed, which points again to what we were saying. Perhaps this character is either not Link or Link at an early stage or before he becomes Link down in the future or whatever, down in the generations.
Yes.
We don't know. But that is very interesting. That's a definitive and certain cresting on the cloak there, on the cape, and we haven't seen anything like it before.
No, so something to keep your eyes open for there, fellows. And of course, Link's appearance is transformed from the cloaked and caped Crusader to himself after he casts the cape off. And indeed, we can see there also in action his blue tunic, which I don't think has anything to do with the Zoras this time round.
No, indeed, no. Blue tunic, very interesting, and people have been saying, well, what's this blue tunic?
Yes, now just again on the subject of some close-up analysis and inspection here, someone was good enough to piece together a picture of the full map from the game,
yes,
which was actually shown in the trailer with Mr. Miyamoto and Mr. Aonuma. Now, they were keen to emphasize just exactly how big this world was, and as you can see from the full picture here, it really is a large-scale world, but can we perhaps make out some locations and perhaps, well, at least ideas of locations on this map, old chap?
Well, yes, well, firstly, let's say this right away, is that this game, we know now, and they have made a point of saying, is going to be a very large open world game, the likes of which we've not seen in Zelda games before, apparently.
A very large map, yes,
very
indeed.
large.
It would take a very long time to cross on foot, probably hours, I should think.
Most certainly, and one of the chaps there was saying that yes, some of those mountains way off over there, you can actually walk to them. They're not just there in display, just rendered in display around the central thing that's going on. They are there, and you can actually walk to them if you've got time in the game, a bit like Skyrim.
Now, yes, Mr. Miyamoto, or one of the two, actually dropped there that the edge of the map is still very much in place in this game, but if we look closely, on the right-hand side there, we have a situation where the edge of the map appears to be water, but on the other borders of the map there, and we can see we are at the furthest zoomed out version of the map, as it were, we appear to have a sort of a mountainous edge to the map there. So I think we have a combination here of both water on the right-hand side and traditional Zelda overworld terrain on the left. So it suggests we perhaps may be seeing some form of way to fast travel, or certainly travel across water. It could be a boat like in Wind Waker.
Well, yes, just looking at the map there, as you say, we've certainly got coastline there,
yes,
and inner land on the left-hand side.
So it's not Skyloft or anything. This is definitely Earth or the ground, as it were.
Certainly. Now, whether you can travel across the sea somewhere else yet, we don't know. This could be just the entire thing here.
Yes.
But I see some interesting rivers there running from the sea into inland.
Yes.
Perhaps you can travel on those, as you say, in boat or something, perhaps. Maybe, we don't know.
Yes, that's right. And of course we can see two large coves or bodies of water there on the map also. Now, one of those could well be, if you ask me, Lake Hylia.
Well, yes, it could be, because that's the thing question. Where are some of those places? As you say, Hylia, Hyrule Castle, etc. Where are they? Gerudo Valley? Are they in there somewhere? I mean,
yes,
it could well be. I mean, who knows? I
mean, you've got a sort of a deserty sort of colour scheme towards the north there. That could be Gerudo Valley, perhaps. Where also could be London Ranch, Kakariko Village, Death Mountain, and the Zora's Domain. If such places do exist in this game, they've got to be there somewhere, old chap.
Well, yes, I think so. It's a sort of very interesting looking map display there, and I think that as we're looking at that, we have to understand that the characters themselves on this map would be very, very small, because it's extremely large indeed.
That's right, and I don't know, would it be perhaps a bit hasty to call that character Link, because we don't know for 100% certain that it is Link, old chap.
We don't.
As we were saying there.
We don't, and I think at first when people saw it, they think, oh, it's the next game, Zelda, it's great, yes, and there's Link. But then as we study it more, we begin to think, well, no, is that Link? Or is it a lead-in to, I mean, Link's got to be in the game, of course.
Well, of course,
or
old
is
chap.
is it a lead-in to Link, to Link? And also, as I think we said before, could we perhaps be seeing Zelda in this game actually being able to play as Zelda, perhaps?
Well, I don't know. It could be anything at this stage.
Who knows?
Now, just a close-up look at the bow there that Link uses. This is quite an unusual creation. It's not like anything we've seen before. It's tied together with string, of all things, as you can see, but when it actually unfolds and takes its shape, it's